Hey, everybody. It is another episode of the Two Big Guys and Grover podcast.
Finally.
Oh,
Woo!
we're
Weeks
back.
off.
Where you been?
We missed a week.
Did we miss a week?
I think we missed 1 week.
I think it's two. I've
Maybe
had two
we
people
missed
call
2
and say,
weeks. So,
"Where you guys been?"
so
I think
for,
it's been 2 weeks off.
for all you viewers that have been that got there last week and went, what in the world? And the week before, what in the world? We're back. So,
We're here.
It's not that we've had 2 weeks off.
no, it's just been busy, man. Just been
It's amazing how busy we are without having rodeos. Like the amount of things that we've been able to accomplish without rodeos has been insurmountable.
Hey, and what are some of the things you've been able to accomplish?
Well, we put a new arena in, or we redid the arena.
Yeah, three or four times.
Yeah.
Now it's sort of almost completed.
Yeah. So, but once we finished that, it's now. It seems like the kids are in the arena a lot more, which means
That was the purpose.
But every time you turn around, it's like, hey, I'm head of the arena. So now it's turned into a. It's a great thing.
What
Don't get
more
me wrong.
could you ask for?
No,
that?
it's just the.
It's gotten to the place it's so busy we almost need a sign-up schedule to use it. That's awesome.
I said that from the get-go
Yeah.
with old Bobby. I said, "Hey, listen, you're going to need to sign out hours here so everybody gets
because that's what it's turned
time."
into.
We put 2 new tracks on a Kubota.
That went really quick, didn't it?
Hey,
No.
Kubota.
I'm telling you right now.
Hey, Kubota.
Yeah. Hey,
Want
Kubota.
to sponsor a podcast?
Yeah,
We love your machine.
Love
We
the
hate putting
machine,
tracks on it, though.
but yesterday was the thing is the tracks have been used. I mean, the machine's a great machine. It's just it was due for new tracks, and so now that there are new tracks on it, or the old tracks needed to go. Well, the problem was they kept popping off, and every time they popped off, it's not like they popped off in front of a set of tools. They popped off somewhere
In the middle of the driveway.
Yeah.
Driveway, arena, you name it.
Right.
So we finally got new tracks, and I will say this. When you only have one machine to use, it takes another machine just to get the tracks in place.
Mhm.
If you don't have a machine, all you do is tug and pull, and I definitely feel like my body took a beating yesterday.
It won.
Oh, man.
I got there just in time to put the last one on, full of grease,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize how hard putting grease in one of those
Yeah.
is, but
I thought I thought.
I didn't. I was there from the very beginning. So.
Well, okay. Other than the arena, getting new tracks on the.
We put some
Kubota.
cameras out. I mean, we were kind of
Yeah.
preparing because we always end up at, we always come home from. Well, let me rephrase that. We always seem to come home from high school finals at the 1st of August and think, oh, yeah, we need to put some cameras out or something, kind of see what the deer are doing. And then it's YBR. And then next thing you know, it's the middle of September. And we said, hey, we need to do this.
Then
and
we're
then,
going to Vegas.
Then the next thing is we're in Vegas because the month prior to Vegas we've talked about is just
Yep.
busy.
Then we come back.
And then we come back from Vegas and it's deer season.
Right.
And you don't really know where any deer are at because you haven't really been paying much attention, don't really know what's out there. Well, this year we've gone a little farther and put some cams out, and shout out to Cody Link, who are by far.
Absolutely. My new favorite thing.
yeah, you watch that thing constantly,
I
don't you know?
can't. It's worse than it ever. It's an addiction. And I know the guy over at Rogers said, hey, listen, you're going to have to set this to batch like every 12 hours.
I think it's true.
And he said, because if you don't, you're not going to put your phone down. You're going to be looking at it. And it's the first and
I'll be
last
darned.
thing I look at. I pop up. No, what's frustrating is like yesterday we've got 8 pictures from the same camera, and it's the sun.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
which
all
is
the other ones,
which is actually hard to hunt. People think the sun would be easy to eat, but it's hard.
You're right. You can never get the right angle.
Well, and all of the ones that are getting like you see the ones like, oh, do I need to move it? Or you don't see anything come on in front of it. So it's like, oh, maybe it's in the wrong spot, and then all of a sudden you get a picture of one, and you're like, oh no, it's in the right spot.
It's in the
It's
right
just
spot.
the right deer moving in front of it. So yeah, so put out some some cameras and
Working on deer blinds.
Yep, he's been working on deer blinds. You've been working around just getting stuff done. I mean, it's amazing how much stuff we don't get done that we think is.
Well,
It's neglected.
Hey, the new welder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a new welder who's starting to put up pipe fence. We've started. We haven't finished.
Right.
We've got a lot of started projects that hopefully we're going to get finished pretty soon. We're almost have a rope and shoot all the way put in. Got the pops open now.
Shout out to
Josh Thompson.
Josh Thompson
Yeah.
and his family.
Yeah. So
That's where that came from.
that was it's been good, and today's an exciting day for me because the first time in probably about 65 days I get to get a haircut. So heading down to Moonshot here after.
I know she didn't wear a cap today. Is
No.
that your
I
declaration of
yeah, I'll show off my deer.
beautiful gold locks?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, what
Gray.
color do you call that?
it's gray, man. The longer it gets, the grayer it gets.
The longer it gets, the grayer it gets.
Yeah.
Hey, you know,
Wow.
we've been. I say
sandy.
we. I've been buzzing my head. you
I had
know,
my
through
kids
the-
cut my hair, which was a whole nother.
Don't-
Don't do that.
I'm not even gonna go there because I asked for assistance in my house and got the. Like we'll just go ahead and shave it at that point.
Did that really happen? Well, that's about as bad as mine because mine was in my middle one, and I said, "Hey, would you?" She's like, "Yeah, I want to," and it was going okay, except for she turned away and turned it off, and then brought it back to my head and wasn't on. It went like this,
Yanked it.
and oh my goodness, it wasn't on, and it just got wedged in the back of my head, and
That's
it
awesome.
hurt.
All I've noticed is when it was growing out after the first time we buzzed it, the first part of the quarantine, because I needed a haircut then, and I was like,
That's how it was.
I was like, man, I should have got a haircut last week when they were open. But when that started growing out, I started noticing a lot of gray, a little more gray than I thought was there. Like,
You know what? Come to think about it, I got a haircut right before Kansas City's PBR.
Yeah, so you're 3 months in.
Holy cow! Sorry, guys, I'm having trouble with my. It's early in the morning here. I mean, for those of you in podcast land don't know
could
that,
be
but
mold fest.
it is early. Yeah, it's not Corona. It might be a little allergies this morning, but
Speaking of Corona,
Hmm?
I wonder if beer sales for them have gone up or down.
oh, I think beer sales I think alcohol sales as a whole has went
The
up.
only reason I say that is because I've noticed that in what little bit of TV I've watched the last couple nights, there's been a lot of Corona ads. So I wonder
Corona more, Corona.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're not
I
feeling.
thought they stopped production. I
That's a
thought
good idea.
I remember like when all this started, about a week or something into it.
Really?
It said Corona has stopped production.
I think they did for a little bit because they were kind of like, I mean, not that it caused it.
Right.
not that it cost it.
I don't know. We are almost back to, well, no, we're not. Just when you think you're back to normal, and the way that counties are in this state drives me absolutely nuts. I can go to Smithville, which is what
15 minutes away.
15 minutes from
10
here,
12 miles.
and I can get a fountain pop at Quick Trip. You can't do it in this city.
Nope.
In fact, they just said, I was reading a post last night about Platte City itself, like our little town, that they're talking about extending us to June 8th. And the reason is because of the airport.
But what? There's nobody coming to the airport.
Well, actually, no, there is. Believe it or not,
Who the hell-
they've been landing planes. Like, because I told you we're on the flight path. Last night, I was sitting outside with the kids. They were moving some four-wheelers around. And I counted 10 planes in a row that were all landing. And they weren't like shipping planes. They were commercial planes all coming in. I saw Delta. And
Who's our neighborhood developer here that is a great fan of ours and stuff? Always stops by, talks about the X.
Oh,
Bull guy.
Tim?
Yeah. So Tim stops
Tim
by
Darden?
the house.
Yeah.
So Tim stops by the house, hollers at me. I'm working on my four-wheeler in the trailer in the front. Hollers, hey, get over here. He says, how you guys doing? And I go through the woes and tribulations. Say, small business, yada, yada, yada. He said, well, I feel you. He said, I keep flying back and forth. I said, you're flying? He said, yeah, I'm flying. He said, I've flown 5 times in the last 4 weeks. I said, where are you flying to? And he says, back and forth, Arizona, and then a couple other places. And he said 4 of those were on Southwest. And he said they're unbelievably appreciative and treat their, he says, kind of re-energize them to be the appreciation. He said the most he had on one flight was like 30 people. He said, so everybody gets a row.
Yeah.
And he said at least, or everybody gets 5 rows. But he was talking about how still there are some people that want to sit close to other people. We were laughing about this, and it was like, someone passes up like 10 rows of empty
It
seats
sits right,
Sits
right
beside
next to
you.
you. Yeah.
right next,
Yeah.
you know, and he's like, seriously, all right. But he was talking about, and I said, I didn't think they were flying. He goes, well, I don't think they're flying as much. He said, there's not as many flights throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then you drive out here where we live, you drive right across, you know, where the car rental and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and there are literally hundreds.
There's 500, they said.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of parked airplanes.
They're parked
Yeah.
they're
Well-
parked at an angle, and they have their covers are on everything. We were talking about growing up here and being from here and being this close. The last time it was like that was for 9/11.
Mhm.
Everything was grounded.
Everything was grounded.
And
That's exactly what it looked like.
And I noticed one of the park and fly places is closed up completely. They'll
Completely.
Probably they'll probably never reopen. But I will say this, and I just because it piqued my interest here this week, I've been looking at stocks,
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing. Southwest is one of the fastest rising stocks right now. They lost a ton, but I'm telling you, if you got any little extra money, because we all do, just sitting in our sock, put it into the airline company because they're going to come back. I mean, they got to come back.
Mhm.
So,
But
but also,
I've been surprised. That, like I said, I last night I noticed a lot of them were Southwest. There were a couple Deltas, and then Air Canada landed a couple last night because they get low enough from our house. You can see
Yep.
exactly who they are.
Yep.
And I was surprised to see
Yeah,
Air
you
Canada.
can probably read the numbers off the bottom.
I was
of the
surprised to
plane at
see
your
Air
place.
Canada coming in because I thought I didn't know they were flying. I didn't know we were going international in Kansas City right now.
well, I just read something the other day. Canada, Mexico, we're still in a. You still can't enter from them,
Right.
But Air Canada though flies to Salt Lake
Okay,
to the northwest.
So they have
I
to-
U.S. domestic.
into-
flights.
I just saw
into
them.
little towns in Washington like Everett and to Yakima and stuff like that. So you can catch an
Well,
Air Canada flight
There we go,
through,
nice.
through Frontier.
As much as I hate flying because I'm a big guy in the seat and stuff, I kind of miss it. I kind
Oh,
of miss. I
Yeah,
miss being on the road.
I went to junior rodeo this weekend, and it was only 2 hours from home, but it felt like it was 10 hours from home. 2
Because
hours.
you haven't drove.
2 hours in the truck was like
Yep.
excruciating, and it felt weird because I like all these years we've traveled, and I'm like, wow, that 2 hour trip took forever. The second thing was when you pulled in, it was as if nothing has ever happened. Once we hit the gates, trailers got parked. I mean, it was the routine of what
Kids
it was.
running around.
It was the exact same routine as it used to be. The only thing that was different was only one person in the cafe at a time, and which is different. It's a pretty small cafe. It's about this size,
And it's awesome.
but only one person was allowed in there to order at a time. She was just trying to follow health official rules. And then in the stands, they tried to have everybody
Set apart.
set apart.
How long did that last?
Believe it or not, there were groups that sat, 2 or 3 a piece and sat away. But down behind the what I was gonna say is down behind, is all those kids are, because it was a Pee Wee rodeo up. I mean, it was a full youth. It wasn't a junior high or high school. It's amazing to me. Those kids get on those horses and life just like went back to normal for them. Like it was just everything was the same. Little kids on up. I mean, you see the little kids sitting on their horses like nothing's ever happened, and the older kids are back laughing and so it was different to go to a youth rodeo this weekend. I'm glad they had it. We've got another one in 2 weeks, and I missed it. It's amazing how much you miss when you're not when you're not going. You're like, oh, that's all right. I won't go. It's 2 hours away. I'm not going to enter. Then the kids enter, and it's like, wow, I'm really glad I went. And it's fun to see the people that the families and
Yeah, so Junior Rodeo kicked back off in Missouri last week. Missouri, for all of the things that we've said no to, surprising the things that we have said yes to, Springfield is to have a rodeo this weekend or next
I think
weekend.
it's next weekend. isn't it?
Their pro rodeo is scheduled. They're looking to maybe move it outside to an 8,000 seat grandstand, where then they can have 2,000, which would still be good for that rodeo. We'll see. The PRCA is going to get back to work this weekend with Cave Creek, Arizona. Closed to the fans, made for TV only. Still, I'm not sure about the entry process on that. I know there's some huge slacks, thing like that. But Cowboy Channel is going to hold that this weekend. My only call to action is this on this. There's been a bunch, and I really haven't seen it, but there's been some grumbling about contestants are mad that, we can't bring a companion in, and we can't. We have to take a test, and we have to stay in our groups, and we have to wear a mask, and we have to. Well, guess what? You're getting to rodeo,
Or stay home.
or
Actually,
just don't enter the. Don't
Right.
go to the damn rodeo. I'm so like
Did you see Sunny Deb's post on that?
exactly.
That's. I'm
Yep.
glad you brought
Yep.
that up because that's somebody that I admire her.
Mhm.
She's been in this industry a long time. She's. I mean, really. I mean, if you go back down through it and you start talking about people that have seen everything in this industry, Sunny Deb. I mean, she's one that just gets overlooked. I guarantee you, everybody
Yep.
overlooked.
Yep.
But at the same time, everybody has such a respect for Sun. But her post yesterday was perfect.
Spot
I mean,
on.
it was. We do have to take it on our own and say, hey, it's time for us to step up and prove that we can do this. Because if we can do it this weekend, we can do it next weekend, and from here on out.
Because if you look at the planned rodeos, if you think that these guidelines that these states are just going to allow whatever is going to continue to the 4th of July, bet your bottom dollar it will. So you better get used to rodeoing this way now. I'm afraid, even in a state like Arizona. Now, we've got some deals that are Springfield, like I said, they're planning on having fans. 4th of July seems to be on. It's sad that Oregon went and their governor said nothing until September or until there's a virus. So all of the good Oregon vaccine.
Vaccine, yep.
So all the good Oregon rodeos cancel, leaves Pendleton, and then the Supreme Court in that state said, no, you can't do that. So now Oregon's governor, I think, is having to change their stance, open the state up, in phases or whatever. Well, maybe those rodeos could have happened.
Here's the
What
thing,
was the
though.
one we were talking about
If you
yesterday?
get to the rodeos, though, here's the thing that the grumbles, and I think it's the reality of what it is. Yeah, you guys don't want to. The competitors don't want to put on masks. They don't want to sign waivers. They don't want to do all that stuff. We have to, but at the same time, we have to show some respect for those cities and towns that we're going in and out of, and understand that they're hit with the same financial hardships. They've been going through it too, and so. You hear about all these rodeos that, this rodeo may not have canceled because of the virus, physically being there, but they're having to cancel because they don't have the finances to put on these rodeos.
Right.
Well, just like you see big events, right? Go into a city. All these people go to a city, and when they leave, it's like, I'll say Burning Man or some of the big festivals. They go in and they leave.
You look like a Burning Man.
I do, don't I? I look
For all
like
those out there that
hey,
don't know what Burning Man is.
Who cares what Burning Man is? But it's that whole. You see it. You see posts and stuff all the time of events. Then people leave, and there's literally 40 acres of piles of trash everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in theory, for me, it's that whole thing. You don't want to go to a town, participate in a rodeo, and leave the virus. You know what I'm saying? I mean, leaving. You kind of want to be respectful of who's putting it on. Follow the protocol.
We talked about what's your biggest pet peeve a couple weeks ago, and I said absent-minded. No, I'm wrong.
You're changing it.
Hold on, I'm wrong. It is the timed event person, whether that be a barrel racer, team roper, tie-down roper, steer wrestler, and it don't matter to me if I make you mad or not. Pull your trailer in and scoop your crap out the back door. That committee has busted their tail to have a rodeo. Take your crap, put it back in your trailer, pick up your trash, go to the next one. They don't have to have a rodeo. None of these towns have to have a rodeo, and I'm afraid that next year we're going to have less PRCA rodeos anyway, because those committees that canceled realized how easy it was to cancel.
Okay, so hold on. Let's back up. You're talking about the guy that comes in and leaves his Busch Light cans, Coors Light cans all over.
Yep.
His sack of
In a pile.
the remainder of his ice bag.
Yep.
His shavings and manure out of the back of his trailer.
Yep.
Literally,
That he
they
literally
pushed them out.
shoves out.
Yep.
Yep.
And left in
Yeah.
the pile.
Yeah, I can't stand those guys.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, "Well, hold on."
No, I'm
There's
not.
a
I
reason
just-
that they do that.
No, there's
because
not.
blah,
Because
blah,
there's really not. That, I mean, that's something
that's the most disrespectful thing you can do
Yeah.
to a rodeo committee.
You know what? I got one to top that. I was at a rodeo, and I'm going to leave it. I'm not even going to say where it is because somebody's going to call back and get mad at me. But I had a time of in person have a
Left a
horse
horse.
die and left him.
At the event.
Just
Yeah, pulled out in the middle of the night. The sucker pulled back and broke his neck. He cut the rope. They not only left their beer cans and manure, they left me a dead horse to deal with.
Yeah, it's classy.
That's a true story.
Keep it classy. So there are 100 rodeos scheduled for July, and the PRCA CEO George Taylor was on the Cowboy Channel last night. Just watched it before we went on the podcast. He was talking about the rodeos that canceled. He said there's still 90% of the year's payout left to go. I find that
I think it's
Yeah.
true, though. But think about it. We rodeoed from October 1 to March 1.
You take
You're
the
only
big
taking
ones out.
You're only
for the
taking out
last
3
months.
rodeos right now.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, 3 months of rodeo.
Okay. So Rodeo Houston's going to finish up the Super Series at Fort Worth at the Stockyards with
Hold on, with that, real fast.
Yep.
How much of the NFR is in that total payout, though? Because that's a huge number.
probably.
So that's
they-
what's going to drive that
yeah.
number up.
Okay.
So it's just going to be a big event in the end.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to say years, 90% left for the year, it's not 90% of the rodeos. It's 90% of the money.
Hmm.
And it could truly come from what's left as far as the NFR's got to be at least 50% of that money.
Yeah, and a very well
close
could
to
be.
it.
Very
So
well
anyway.
could be.
Back to Houston.
Uh,
Houston Rodeo in Fort Worth.
Yeah,
Sounds like a George Strait song.
So Rodeo Houston is going to finish up the Super Series. They're not going to pay out the $50,000, from what I understand. Going to be at the Fort Worth Stockyards.
It's going to be at Cowtown.
Yeah, North Side here in a few weeks or whenever it's going to be. I'm not real sure.
And it's televised.
Yeah, it'll
Through
be
the Cowboy
televised on
Channel.
Cowboy Channel. So the PRCA pro rodeos are starting to get back up clicking. There's already been some regional rodeos, amateur rodeos, whatever floats your boat on how you call them that. That I think have been successful so far. I know what was it? There was one in Oklahoma.
Locust Grove.
Locust Grove had,
Yeah, it
like
had
500
4,000
contestants or something like
and
that.
4,000 people.
Yeah.
4,000 spectators.
Cottonwood, California was really the first one to break out of the boat. They had a ton of spectators, a ton of contestants. I think made the governor pretty mad,
Mhm.
and so
Well,
But see,
We'll see.
there's the thing. Then you got places like Nebraska where the governor says no rodeo.
yeah, but you can play softball and baseball.
Right.
But right now he's not going to let the state finals happen. And little inside baseball. Well, no, I mean, as of right now, the national high school finals are going to be are on
they're on
in
but
Lincoln, but
but
there's
he-
no state finals in Nebraska.
Well, and he said that he will again. June 8th is their date that they have to decide if they're going to have it or not. Is what they claim. And so if there's nobody, I mean, and his claim was no rodeo because there'll be an influx of patients on the hospitals. I can promise you. I bet
Because
if
they
you look
think
at the
people are going to get
statistics-
hurt.
Yeah, if you look at the statistics, more kids go to the hospital playing softball and baseball in the summertime than they do rodeo. I mean,
Yeah, I know that's just a cop out of not wanting to.
you're from the other side. I mean, it happens.
yeah, there's probably more to the frequency being impacted on because those other sports, it takes less of an injury to go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
I'd say, the levity of,
Then there's probably less baseball and softball in Nebraska, and more rodeo in the summertime.
Could be.
could
I mean, I'm
be.
being totally serious. I mean, because you
Could be.
you figure all those guys up there that do have all the
Because they're not a state that has football. I don't even think they have. Do they have football in college there anymore? I don't.
Did they
I don't-
ever?
I don't. I was gonna say.
I mean,
don't-
back in the '90s, I know when Rucker was there, that there was definitely a team, but
Yeah. So I, visited with Josh about like high school. They're looking at the NFR qualifier, started the junior NFR for the minis. This has had a huge effect on the young kids, right? Even to the fact that you start worrying about kids losing interest because they're not getting to participate in other things garnering their interest. They were talking about having the NFL qualifier. I think they have 3 events, youth events, in one weekend. And so they're really kind of having to choose. You know, okay, do I go to the NFL qualifier, the junior NFL qualifier, or do I go, to this event?
Well, did you see there's a $7,500 added IMBR
Yeah.
Well, we
the
found
same weekend?
we
I know.
found a way to oversaturate the youth market
Yep.
too.
Yep.
We really just have. Hey, hold that thought. Now let's talk about the first professional sport back. Even though CBS and
NASCAR?
Fox and everybody else can't give it the credit where credit's due. Even Dale Jr. though did say that they okay, they were first. Who cares? Let's go racing. So NASCAR is coming back, but the PBR held 2 events while we took our little sabbatical from this podcast. Jose Vitor-Lemi won the Cooper Tire Invitational, and Lucas Davino. I guess it's Davino.
We actually had 3, right? Oh no, we talked about it when you came
the
on.
first one.
Yeah.
So Jose won the Cooper Tire Invitational. Lucas Davino won the Lucas Oil Invitational last weekend in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And so did it change the world standings? Absolutely not.
Still number 1.
Davina moves up to 7th. The Colton Jesse drops 1 spot. Jose is a machine, riding almost 70% of his bulls.
Here's my take on the whole thing. One, after watching the events, what I've watched, it's amazing to me how much the crowd changes an event.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you had ever said that to me before, I'd have been like, nope.
We're such a live entertainment sport.
It is. And that was my point is
Yeah.
because the PBR has done such a good job in building a live venue for people to come and watch.
Mhm.
You forget. And I don't want to take away anything from anybody. I mean, Stetson Lawrence going 91 1/4 on Sky Harbor this weekend was a bull ride that kid's needed for a long time. Things like
Amen.
that. I mean, and it was really good. And I wish that would have been in front of the crowd so he could have felt that because
Right.
he not only danced, he hit his chest, and it was just like, for him, it was just checklist.
It was the hell yes moment.
Yes, yeah. But my point was when you watch it, it's like you hear everybody else hooping and hollering in the background, and you don't realize how much the crowd plays into that.
Well, from coaching in a spectator sport, right? There are times when a small crowd, you hate it.
Yeah.
You need that roar. That's why, like, I'll say in football, in practice, it's hard to simulate that level of performance, right? We know that you can't. That's the bottom line.
Mhm.
But you try to get there. So the difference in practice, we would practice, we would do our 5:30 a.m. practices on our game field. We'd put music on the speakers because you needed something that kind of had just noise.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Not white noise, but just noise coming out of that had a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to raise that level of whatever you got.
Well, it's just they're conscious of it.
Yeah.
I mean, but going to the whole practice thing, we talk about like Jose and those guys at Jose's house getting on, 22 pointers all the time. How much of this has been a good thing for guys to actually feel like it is a practice? Not that it was a practice; those events are real, but it puts them in a position. It's simulated as a practice.
It makes it a
feel.
business. Really
It does.
quick.
It
Yeah.
does. Well, and it's
Yeah.
how many guys in this industry ever have been able to do that?
No.
Nobody.
No.
You can go to a practice pit and get on against your buddies. Nobody has ever had a stage set that said, "All right, guys, this is a competition," but it feels like, and all of a sudden, we've seen guys like Mason Taylor the other night. Heck of a bull ride.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and again, he's not. They're not playing to the crowds. They're not playing, and so all of a sudden, it's like, man, I gotta get back to the basics and do what I'm supposed to do, and think about that all the way down. I mean, right down to our mini bull riders that we see. I mean, we see those kids.
Yep.
They get there, and all of a sudden, they're starstruck. I mean, we saw kids last year that they didn't cover one bull in Vegas yet all year long. they were consistent in making it. So if you say the crowds and the people don't make a big difference,
Yeah.
I firmly believe they
I'm
do.
sure if you went down, you asked the top 35 guys, even in the PBR, who are professionals at the highest level, specific, to bull riding. If you ask them, they want 10,000 people in the seats.
Yeah, absolutely.
They want to play to it. It raises that level because it changes the game, right?
Well, it's like NASCAR. We were talking about it. Those guys said the same thing. They crawled in that simulator for 2 weeks or 3 weeks prior. They have got to qualify every year. But they said the same thing. The level of danger is not there. They know they can sit down in that car and relax and know that they're not going to die if they wreck.
Right.
I'm not a race guy. I am absolutely here. That's not, this right here.
Yeah.
I have great friends that live for it. Man, they pay $200 for the pit stuff. They go in, sit on top of the campers, and it's, Talladega Nights all over. I mean, they live that. Did you see any of the highlights? I normally don't watch it, but because it was the only highlights, they're showing the camera and the first couple of highlights, as they were following, right? It was showing empty stands. And I guarantee it was one of those things where somebody said, pan low, don't pan.
Well, yeah,
because now they started panning, a little bit lower. But it was amazing because normally there's 90,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't one person in the stand.
But they have to qualify during the week. I mean, and the only reason is what little bit I did hear. I was listening to a radio show that he said, we're used to that because we qualify on like what was Tuesdays and Wednesdays or whatever. They come into town.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, we're used to running against nobody in the stands during the week.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear him talk about it. So I think that's different from our guys that are not used. I mean,
Right.
I wonder if they're still fighting amongst
Yeah,
themselves.
we're not.
Surely they do, right?
We're not.
I
used to
bet
it
they
at all.
are.
It's like, screw the crowd. I'm not here for that. Get the hell out of my way.
We will have a crowd in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in July. It's going to be 35% occupancy, I believe is what I read. Cashless concession stand, few numbers in the bathroom at the same time. That will be the new Monster Energy PBR Team Challenge Finals, which I want to get more into that, I think, next week.
Yeah, once we
I
know
think
a little more.
We'll know a little bit more. Going to try to get Gleason to call in to the podcast so that we can talk about that. We'll see.
I think writers are
see how much
excited
time
about
he's
that.
got because
Right.
he doesn't have much time on his hands. But the writers, I think, are pretty excited about it because it's something new.
Different.
They realize how well that it's went with the Global Cup and being part of a team. And so we'll see. This has been something that's been in the talks for a while, and it was kind of a, it had been talked about, and right now might be the perfect time to test the waters on how that would work in Western sports of doing a team competition. So I'm looking forward to it.
And I want to give a shout out to, I don't know if he's listening or not. I think he's been on the show before. It's Dalen Swearingen, number 4 in the world, doing a great job. Rides $1 off. I mean, it's just, again, there's something to be said about getting seasoned in front of crowds and things, and he's still doing it.
I would like to know if not having a crowd is bothering Dalen Swearingen, though, because I think it is.
That's
I think it
where
is,
was
too.
going.
I really like. There's something right now that's not fire, as Clint would say, not firing on all 8 cylinders. It's just not.
Right.
And I don't know if it's the crowd, if it's the stress of, because I'm telling, those events are stressful.
Well, and
Because you got to think a lot more about, it's not just you're going into ride bulls and have fun, but you have to think about all these other protocols and things that they're reminding you to do. And you're not in a hotel, you're in a camper. Some guys are in.
I keep looking at it and say,
it's different.
yeah. So I keep looking at it with Dalen and go, in my mind, I'm thinking, gosh, he's just not on top of it right now. Right. I mean, he's doing
Mhm.
enough. He's number 4. So he has a little bit of, kind of
Got a
ebb
little
and
wiggle
flow.
room.
But he's number 4.
Yeah.
He's number 4.
And how about just as you go down through there, you've still got 2 guys that are on there, 5 and 6, who aren't even in the States yet.
And it doesn't sound like they're going to be anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're going to miss the team challenge. The team challenge isn't going to give individual points anyway. It's going to
No.
pay money. So that's not going to play a role in the world standings. It'll be interesting to see if they say, hey, this is mandatory that you ride in this, or if you see some guys that'll say,
I'm a pro
hey, you know what, I'm gonna or I'm just not gonna take the risk of getting hurt here when I got points to come up in July when we get to Cheyenne or something like that. You know, I don't know.
Well, Triplet's excited about it.
Triplet
because
says
it's
the
right.
best thing since canned beer.
Yeah, I don't know. Canned beer is pretty good.
Again, we can get into it next week once we've got some more stuff. But I think it's been a long time coming. It's been tried many times over the years in different ways, different formats. Excited to see how this format is compared to Global Cup. All the way back to the old Winston rodeo days in the early. It's been. I mean, this is not a new concept. We talk about it being new. It's not that new. It's new in the fact that there's finally a platform that is able to excel at it, and I think that's this platform here.
And to be honest, you're going to see a bunch of backlash on social media. The old guys are going to go, oh, "This is an individual sport." Blah blah blah. Some are going to like it, some are not going to like it. That's the way of the world right now.
2 more shout outs. One, Stetson Lawrence, with a 91 1/4.
Yeah.
Won the round, and then actually finished 4th, I believe, in the event. Right? He's gone all the way up to 17th, which is awesome.
Yep.
For a guy that was cut.
That was cut. Went to Georgia.
Nah, Maine.
Right.
Yeah.
Won that event. Came back, and just
And
Cody Teal too.
Yep.
I mean, Cody Teal was on the bubble of the bubble of the bubble, and jumped all the way up to the 21st.
And don't forget about our buddy Cole Melanson giving a great advertisement to the helmet the first weekend of Guthrie. Kawamo, and walked out of the arena. So it's been interesting. If you have not watched any of those events, I invite you to go back to Ride Pass, watch those events. When the team challenge starts up in Las Vegas, again, I believe it's going to be closed crowd. And then they'll have a crowd in Sioux Falls. So, and I don't know that I don't know if I'm getting to watch it from the comfort of my home or if I'm getting to go. I don't know. It's like everything else. We're trying to do it on a shoestring Skeletons crew budget,
right.
and I get that. But shout out again to the PBR and everything that they've done to get this sport back up and rolling. We are a sport. I believe we should be a mainstream sport. I don't know if we'll ever get that credit where credit's due because we're just different. But you're not going to find athletes any tougher than the guys that we have on our tour. So, but like I said, we're going to talk more about the team challenge next week here on the podcast. I'm going to go get a haircut. So we hope you guys have enjoyed it. And
I may do the same.
You'll see a different me next week.
I got a haircut last week.
Yeah, you just shaved it. Yeah. I think I'm going to do the same.
So, see ya.
Do they do your eyebrows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I need it.
Now
they're 80-year-old furry right now.
I noticed that the other day. I was like, no, I know we turned off all this other stuff. I walked by a guy the other day in the store, and I kid you not, he looked like an ant or whatever. Like they were literally
like a caterpillar.
Yeah, caterpillar. They were truly coming straight out. I just started laughing. I'm like, man, the virus has really got this guy.
I know what's in front of me before I see it.
Yeah.
That's how long my eyebrows are.
Your feelers are out there.
My
How about the
feelers
feelers
are
on the side of the top of the ears?
Yeah, a little inside the ear hole. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. Two Big Guys and Girl Podcast.